Okay, good afternoon, St. Mary's. So we are going to do the weekly video with Tom, and I know you never get bored of these. I never get bored of making them. There's always something going on in Tom's life. So this one is Tom walks into a bar, or DRE Tom walks into a bar, and so it's actually awesome. So I do like to do something when I was at Franciscan. I went on a mission trip, quote unquote, where we went down to Florida, and we would actually go to the bars where all the high school or all the college students were going and drinking and doing that kind of stuff. And we try to evangelize them, right? So we try to bring them to faith. And it sounds like a horrible plan, but it was actually a very awesome experience because, like, these college students, we'd have these just deep, profound conversations, and they were living just, for the moment kind of deal. And a couple of the conversations that I had, one of the people that I was talking to said that out of all the sex, all the drugs, all the alcohol that he did that last week for his spring break, our conversation was the best thing that happened to him because we were talking about philosophy and God and the meaning of life. And he said that was the highlight of his break. It was the coolest thing. I was just like sitting with this guy having a beer. I was 21 or 22, so don't be scandalized. But anyways, so I like to continue that. I've been trying to do that, because that's where Jesus would go, right? Jesus would go to the bars. He would go to the places where people were drinking and, just like where the sinners were. And then that's where he would do his ministry. That's where he would bring the love of God, right? Because these people need it desperately. So I've been trying to do that. I don't do it every weekend, but I try to get in there and, just strike up a conversation, see who's there. And it's really awesome. A million times to one, I simply throw the net like Peter, and nothing comes back in. Like there's zero fruits. There's no fish. Most people are just okay. Like you're a weirdo. Why are you talking to me? Just get away from me. But a couple weeks ago, I did bump into somebody who, just like for whatever reason, God lined it up. I was getting my drink, he was getting his, and I just kind of struck up a conversation. And he was telling me, just like started to tell me his whole life. He's just a little bit older than me, and just kind of like came from a really crazy past and stuff, and it really just provided me with an opportunity to share the gospel. Just like, man, God is so good, it's insane. Like you just got to experience this. You just have to come to like know this more fully. And for some reason he's like, man, what church do you go to? Because like I'm starting to, not by your words, because I wasn't able to speak. I was just like, oh, it's so good. That's just kind of how I express my heart, I guess. And he's like, dude, what church do you go to? And I was able to tell him St. Mary's. And then he came to one of our RCI classes. So like that's the first time that's ever happened. I've done this not this particular, but I've tried to reach out to a million people and it never works. But it's okay. So that leads me to my second point. Like how after 10 years of doing this, am I still like doing this? Like, with like some degree of joy or like some degree of hope. And I've been rejected 1,000 times. Like how is that possible? It's impossible, right? But the beauty is that my prayer life, like my sitting before the Lord in the front of the Blessed Sacrament, like my relationship with God, like Jesus sends the Holy Spirit into those who have a relationship with him, right? And that Holy Spirit drives us. So it's actually interesting. When the Holy Spirit descended on Jesus after he was baptized, it drove him into the desert, right? And so it's really crazy because when we become united to the Lord, when we're in the state of grace, right? So we don't have any mortal sin on our soul. We're following the commandments, especially the sixth and the ninth, right? Like these are the thou shalt not commit adultery. Like those two are just unbelievable in our day and age. Like the amount of people sin against the sixth and the ninth. And we're following the laws of the church, then we are in the state of grace and the Lord can pour himself into our hearts. And then he drives us to go make disciples of all nations. That's the whole experience. So ultimately, if we have that prayer life, we don't need to worry about running out of energy, right? Like God comes into our souls and then drives us forward. And it's really beautiful, but we need that prayer. Without prayer, then it's just going to be a flash in the pan. It'll just be like, oh, awesome, and then it just fades away. So that relationship is very key to the Christian life. So just want to drop that on you. I hope you guys are doing well, and please pray for me, and I will pray for you. All right, God bless you. Bye.